ねえねえ、何月が好き？
私は4月が好き。
僕は9月が好き。ねえねえ、11時は忙しい
？11時は忙しい。12時は忙しくない。
じゃあ、12時にカフェに行かない？
行く。いらっしゃいませ。11月にこのカフェが開きました。12月はこのコーヒーがあります。どうぞ。
ありがとうございます。いただきます。At the end of this video, you'll be able to fill in the blanks on this worksheet with the kanji for each word. This means, of course, that you'll also be able to read those words when you see them in kanji. This series is for people who have finished our N5 kanji meanings and writing course and is a great companion for our own Anki flashcard deck. You can get all that on ToKini This is also great for people who have finished James Haysig's Remembering the Kanji and want to learn how to actually read the kanji. It'll also work well for WaniKani users who want more exposure to words, readings, and writings for the kanji that they've learned there. Ne ne, 何月が好き？
私は4月が好き。
She has guts saying that her favorite month is April. Not for any particular reason or anything, it just seemed to fit. She means for, which we already learned, and gatsu uses the kanji moon but means month here. That makes sense because months are generally based around the moon in the English-speaking world as well. Combined, this gives us the fourth month, known as 4月 or April. We usually don't say 4月. Many people are in a rush and thus avoid writing at all costs. But multiple studies show that writing new words you learn is extremely effective in facilitating memorization. Write along with Yuki here, or pause the video and use the diagram on the left to try and practice writing the word. I also recommend writing down words when the kanji in them are read in ways you haven't encountered yet.
私は4月が好き。私は4月が好き。
Usually I wouldn't break down anything but the main sentence here, but there are some interesting things going on in my question. I say, ne ne, which is a common way of getting a friend or family member's attention. We could translate it as something like, hey, hey. Although we probably wouldn't do that in English. We learned nani nam in lesson 2, and we're gonna see moon a bunch today. It means month, so that whole thing, nangatsu, means what month. That's marked with the subject marker, making what month the subject of suki, which means fond of or like. This whole thing is a casual question, so my intonation rises at the end, similar to a question in English. In the main sentence, Yuki answers with watashi, which means I, and marks herself with the topic particle wa, giving us as for me. 4月, our word, ga, so she makes it the subject, and suki, like or fond of. So something like, as for me, April like. And since she's not Yoda, we go with I like April. Not because Yoda doesn't like it. You know what, you get it. Stories are a great way to remember words that you find difficult to remember. Here's an example of one you might make utilizing the two images we used to learn the meanings of these two kanji back in the Meanings and Writing series. The four mouths eat sexy legs girl. Did you know her name is April? When she becomes one with their guts, they combine into the moon, changing slowly over 1 month. Sorry, did I mentioned that this video is rated 18 plus. People often ask if they must have a story, and the answer is no. If you find a word easy to remember, there's no need to create a mnemonic story for it, especially if it's a common word that you're gonna see a lot over time. So, 4月 uses the kanji for and moon and means April. 僕は9月が好き. 9 is the biggest brother of the single digits, which of course makes it the cool one. That means the cool gatsu or month is definitely 9月. By the way, the 9th month is September, in case you can't count. September is always 9月, not 9月, because Japanese is fun like that. You might wonder why we skipped all of the months except for April and September. Well, that's because this series is not meant to teach you all of the vocabulary that you need to pass the JLPT N5, but instead all the ways you can read the different kanji that will be necessary to pass the JLPT N5, or the actual kanji tests that natives take, the Kanken level 10. April and September use alternate readings, shi and ku, instead of yon and kyu, for the months, so we needed to point that out. We learned how to read the other numbers in the last lesson, so you can just use those for the rest of the months. We didn't learn 11 and 12 in the last lesson though, so we'll be doing those in this lesson as well. The other months, you can just use the numbers from the last lesson, as I mentioned, or you can learn them in your own vocabulary study or by using the vocabulary flashcard decks available to members on ToKini.com.
ふーん、僕は9月が好き。ふーん、僕は9月が好き。
I respond to Yuki saying that her favorite month is 4月 with a ふーん, which essentially means the same as huh or Is that so? I then answer with my own favorite month. 僕は, as for me, with 僕 being a masculine I, 9月 September, が subject marker, 好き like. As for me, September like. In September, a maximum of 9 friends can fish together, but only if they're cool, and only when the gatsu moon is out. So, 9月 uses the kanji 9 and moon and means September. ねえねえ、11時は忙しい? We've already learned both the words 10 and 1. Combined, you get 10-1, which in English is 11. I promise we'll do things other than just numbers in the next lesson.
ねえねえ、11時は忙しい?
I've already mentioned how ねえねえ is frequently used to grab someone's attention or let them know that you're about to tell them something. We have our number 11 followed immediately by じ. A じ preceded by a number means o'clock, which means that 11時 means 11 o'clock. That's marked by the topic particle, meaning that this is a new topic of discussion I'm bringing up. I then ask 忙しい? Question mark. Busy? Literally, hey, hey. As for 11 o'clock, busy? If we were to Englishify this, we'd get, hey, hey. Are you busy at 11? Probably just with one hey, though. If you put the plus Ju staff next to an itchy worm, it looks a lot like 11. If you turn the worm on its tail. So, 11 uses the kanji 10 and 1 and means 11.
11時は忙しい。12時は忙しくない。
じゃあ、12時にカフェに行かない？
行く。
We've learned 10 and we've learned に too. If 11 is 10-1, then 12 must be 10-2, which of course combines to mean 12.
じゃあ、12時にカフェに行かない？じゃあ、12時にカフェに行かない？
Yuki shows some hesitation and says she's busy at 11. But then she says she's not busy at 12. Our main sentence is じゃあ, which means well then. 12時, which you should have already guessed means 12 o'clock, and that's marked by ni, making it the target of whatever is coming next, as I like to think of ni as the target marker. What is 12時 the target of? Cafe. Cafe. Ni. So cafe is also a target. Ikanai. Ikanai is the negative of iku, which means will go or to go. So in this case, won't go? ? Our literal translation becomes, well then, 12 o'clock, target, cafe, target, won't go? Negative questions can be used as an invitation or a slightly politer version of a question. Ikanai is politer than iku. It's also essentially an invitation to go. Well then, won't you go to a cafe at 12? With me implied. Yuki then answers, yeah, I will go, with some enthusiasm. I think. You probably don't need a story for this one, but if you made one, please share it in the comments so that other people can learn from it. So, 12 uses the kanji 10 and 2 and means 12.
いらっしゃいませ。11月にこのカフェが開きました。
You've got the number 11 down pat, right? And we've also learned that the kanji moon connected to a number is read as gatsu and means month. So it's pretty obvious that this word, 11月, means the 11th month, also known as November.
11月にこのカフェが開きました。11月にこのカフェが開きました。
You can get access to the worksheet in this video and other worksheets as well if you're a member of ToKini You'll find an Anki deck that teaches all the JLPT N5 kanji's meanings and writings, as well as extra sentences that aren't in this video for helping you to learn how to read them. On top of that, we have tons of other grammar, vocabulary, reading, and listening content. You can even get personalized feedback from myself and Yuki on exercises and recordings of yourself. The shop manager greets us with a greeting you will definitely hear if you ever walk into any shop in Japan. That is, いらっしゃいませ. It essentially means welcome or come on in, and it's very polite. There's no need to respond to it. Then we sit down and the shop manager gives us our sentence for this word. 11月, November, ni. So November is the target of what comes next. このカフェ, this cafe. Ga. So this cafe is the subject, which the coming verb will apply to. 開きました, opened. So November, target, this cafe, opened. Or I opened this cafe in November, maybe. Our 11 staff and worm combo give us an 11 next to our flying moon mouth guy, whose guts now have those legs as a permanent fixture from 4月. So 11月 uses the kanji 10, 1, and moon and means November.
12月はこのコーヒーがあります。どうぞ。
ありがとうございます。いただきます。We have one more month to cover before moving on to bigger and better things in the next lesson. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that 12 means 12 because your memory is amazing, and gatsu is of course month. So we have the 12th month, or December.
12月はこのコーヒーがあります。どうぞ。 12月はこのコーヒーがあります。どうぞ。
The shop manager continues to talk to us and says 12月, December, marked with the topic marker wa, so about December. このコーヒー, this coffee, ga, that's the subject marker, so it's the subject of the verb to come. あります, exists, or in this case, have. どうぞ, here you are, or you may have it. It's just something you say when handing something to someone and encouraging them to take it. So we get literally, as for December, this coffee have. Here you are. In English, we might say, this is our coffee for December. Here you go. We then say, thank you, and itadakimasu, which is something essentially every Japanese person says before every meal or before eating or drinking something that they've been given. It literally means, I will have it. For this story, you'll want to take the story you created for 12, if you made one, and fit in our gatsu moongai, or whatever you find helps you remember that moon, gatsu, means month when combined with a number. Or maybe you won't even need a story for this one either, because you're going to see it all the time. So, 12月 uses the kanji 10, 2, and moon, and means December. If you've enjoyed this video so far, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. But don't go anywhere, because next is the quiz. Try to fill in the words on the worksheet here if you have it as we go through the whole scene. If you don't have the worksheet, no worries. Just write it down on a piece of paper or trace it out on the palm of your hand with your finger.
私は4月が好き。私は4月が好き。
僕は9月が好き。僕は9月が好き。11時は忙しい。11時は忙しい。
12時は忙しくない。12時は忙しくない。11月にこのカフェが開きました。11月にこのカフェが開きました。12月はこのコーヒーがあります。12月はこのコーヒーがあります。あなたは12。あなたは12。4月が好き。4月が好き。僕は11。僕は11。9月にアメリカに帰る。9月にアメリカに帰る。11月にドイツに行く。11月にドイツに行く。12月にクリスマスがある。12月にクリスマスがある。
We'll be covering even more words in the next video in this series. If it's already out, you can click here to continue learning with us.